Here is a 2024 BMW X3 sDrive30 in dark graphite metallic over Takara red interior. The inline four-cylinder is a treat because you're still getting performance that's in the 6-second margin. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and we're going to touch bases on some pros and cons and some comparable rivals. Full LED headlights that go into the satin aluminum for the kidney grille. It's an active grille shutter. The lower gets a touch of the satin aluminum, and you get front and rear parking sensors with a 360-degree reverse camera. Now, when you're optioning this tier, I usually would recommend getting it more base, because once you start adding features, you might as well go up to the M40i, which changes out this four-cylinder engine into an inline six-cylinder twin-scrolled. Here we're getting 248 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. Paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, it's going to reach 60 at 6 seconds and a top speed at 130 miles per hour. The sweet spot for the M40i can go up to 155 miles per hour with a staggered wheel setup. But here, you're going to get better gas efficiency. 23 mpgs for the city and 29 mpgs for the highway, but you're only losing a couple miles when it's coming to the city. These are 19-inch Y-spoke gray alloy wheels. Bumping it up to the M40i gets the red brake calipers that's going to house 4 pistons in the front, a single floating caliper in the rear. But when you're in this trim, you're saving on service also. So you're still getting the performance to get you up and going, and you're not sacrificing with the luxury. Satin aluminum is going to be on the lower skirt that kind of bulges it out more so, and satin aluminum on all of the window trims and the roof rails. Towing up to 4,400 pounds, payload nearly 1,000 pounds, so everyday use vehicle, you can tick the box for that. Going against Mercedes, Audi, and Genesis. This is faster than the standard Q5 Audi, faster than the Benz, has more horsepower and torque than the Audi, and Genesis is going to have a lot of power. You got 300 horsepower in their next variant trim, which is a twin-turboed V6. You're near 400 horsepower, which it's less than the M40. That's why that's the sweet spot. But getting your feet wet, I would take the box on this, because the 0 to 60 numbers better or right at the same as everybody in its class. LED tail lights, the lower is not going to be as aggressive as the M40, but you get the satin aluminum, the chrome that's going to outline the dual exhaust outlets, sDrive30 badging, and I like that they've given some gloss black elements to offset all the satin aluminum. Don't option this fully loaded, because then it's best that you go up to the M40i. Power liftgate going into 28.7 cubic feet of storage with a storage nook on the side, 12-volt charger, bag holders underneath the floor, opens up to have more storage inside. Split fold the rear bench in the back to increase the cargo to 62.7 cubic feet. We need to go inside, start up this inline four-cylinder so you can hear that exhaust note. Power seat adjustment, heated front seats, memory for the driver, manual cushion extensions, headroom and leg room. The X3s are wide inside. The dashboard gets the wood, the ambient lighting, the satin aluminum, and a 10.3-inch infotainment screen. That's standard. The M40i goes up to the 12.3. We have the 360-degree reverse camera, which you saw, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, dual climate control settings, X3 badging that opens up into a wireless charging pad, USB 12-volt. This is the digital key for the X3, and the key fob for the X3. iDrive 7, gloss black around it, and you have your driving mode selects, which when you change that, it will change the configuration of the gauge cluster to make it a little bit more sporty or to coach you to get better MPGs. 3-spoke steering wheel, multi-function, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. Paddle shifts, and it's going to be a little bit more sporty. That opens up into a storage pocket with a USB port. Auto-dimming rear view mirror and a large panel moonroof that goes to the back. The door panel, We'll have the everyday materials. You'll get the wood, the ambient lighting, soft to touch, one touch up and down for all the windows, and a large storage pocket with a storage nook for the driver. For the back seat headroom and leg room, storage behind both of the front seats, USB ports, air vents, cup holders for the armrests. Door is going to get the ambient lighting that's going to surround the top with the wood inlays, X badging. It's going to be more sporty and about the same size storage pocket that's found in the front. Pick the feet up so you can slide over. You will be sharing some feet space. Butt and shoulder space will be shared as well, but for the most part, it's not too bad. Headroom is still pretty good considering I'm over 6 foot tall. 248 horsepower back with 258 pound-feet of torque. BMW says 0 to 66 seconds. We're not going to see it here, but we're going to see some of that dynamics. It is a little bit more wet, but you still feel confident with BMW to push the gas pedal. In which you're still getting quick speeds around the bends. Steering has a little weight to it. Exit came out good. Now let's see that 0 to 60 at the 6 seconds BMW is quoting. It's quiet, more composed, doesn't feel as sporty of a drive as I would say the M40i if you were to bump it up a level. But for the everyday drive, it's good. Dynamically speaking, it's good too. You can still have some fun with it. It's just you're not going to hear it whenever you're pushing it. Larger wheels, you don't really feel any of the imperfections. This is a great vehicle to take on a long journey, put a lot of miles on, and just enjoy with a little bit of sport, more so towards the luxury when you're in the sDrive30i. But it's a great blend because you're getting a good value when you go this route. It's not going to be the least expensive, which is going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting with the pros is the performance is still pretty decent. 6 seconds for BMW isn't necessarily the best, but when you're considering what you're getting, it's an SUV that has clearance that's over 7 inches, towing capacity over 4,000 pounds, payload nearly 1,000 pounds. You have enough room for everybody to sit inside the vehicle, and you still have technology. It's not the iDrive 8. And I'm not a big fan of this smaller screen layout. This is where my big problem comes, because if you're going to put this smaller screen, you could lower it where the air vents are and put the air vents down a little bit more so it would be configured better in the dash, or just give a 12.3 like you do on the other variants for the M40 and the M competition. Another pro about the vehicle is even when you're going up onto the interstate, it doesn't bog down with this twin scroll turbo, and that's because BMW does a pretty good job with giving the power underneath the hood to it. It's not the best, but it's more than Audi, and I don't feel like I'm lacking power because the vehicle doesn't feel heavy when I push the gas pedal. Maneuverability, you can get in and out. It's not that wide of a vehicle, but the interior has a lot of space for leg and width for shoulders. Some other cons about the vehicle is to make this to be somewhat more sporty, you might as well go into an M40i, in which some people may not want that extra power. 382 horsepower is quite a bit. It's a completely different engine in which the front doesn't feel less weight, which typically happens when you put a 4-cylinder opposed to a 6-cylinder. You'll feel the difference in the overhang. You don't actually feel that, so whenever you're taking the bends in this, it still feels as athletic as an M40i. And when I'm considering this is under $47,000, it's hard to get a lot of performance and luxury blended in, because this is the entry level. So you're going to have to add features in which it will escalate to over 50 grand pretty quick whenever you're in the X3. and then optioning the M40i, you're talking over $15,000 difference. So you're not going to put as many features, but if you go halfway, it's something that you might want to consider. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank BMW of Wesley Chapel for giving us this 2024 BMW X3 sDrive30 for our car review.